Yeah, just want to do a quick video here to show you how you can do modifications to the Azoo Mignon filters to make them even better than they already are for nano tanks. So you guys may recognize this as the popular Azoo Mignon 60, and this right here is the Mignon 150. So this is the one that most people are using, and it's a beautiful filter because of the extremely low flow rate. Works really well for very small tanks. The two criticisms that are most common for this, however, are the quality and low capacity for biological filtration media and mechanical filtration media, and also that in some cases people find that they're a little bit noisy when they ought not be. Okay, so in an ideal world, you'd say, I don't have enough capacity for media, but I can just go right up to the 150 and then I'll have a much larger capacity. But then you end up with a significantly larger flow rate that isn't necessarily appropriate for the smallest of nano tanks. But the good news is that the pumps on these are actually interchangeable. Okay, it appears that the only difference is the size of the impeller. They both draw the same amount of power at 4 watts. And you'll see right now that if you do a rotation and a pull out, and a rotation and a pull out, that you can just swap that and put it into place on this filter. And now what do you have? You're going to have the lower flow with the larger capacity. Now moving on from there, the next thing that we'll talk about is modifications that you can do to reduce the amount of sound that you end up with on this. The sound that people are hearing, typically, there can be some impeller noise, but usually the sound you're hearing is just from the transfer of vibration from this filter into your tank and then resonating through that tank. So what you want to do is get some isolation or dampening of that vibration, and that can be achieved using this material here. It's just a weather stripping material, self-adhesive. It's a closed cell foam with a sticky back on it. Okay, so I have some pieces that I've already cut here that can be used right on the pump. And you place them as follows. You get the small strip here. It's going to go right there. Oh, my apologies. Right there. Trying to work backwards here. Okay. Let me get that paper off. This material is interesting. The paper is on the side that isn't sticky once you peel it off the reel. Yours may differ. Okay, so that's the first piece. Second piece is going to go right here. Again, a little awkward for me working backwards, but get that one going all the way across. Peel the paper off. And then the third one on the top side, inside there. Okay, so it's on. Let me get the paper off. Alright, so the end result of that is that you've got foam going all around where you're going to put this on your aquarium glass. Now I should have mentioned before that in my case this is intended to go on a rimless aquarium, so this is plenty of clearance for just a piece of glass to go in. If you're going on a rimmed aquarium, you may have to put it a little bit lower where you've got enough clearance for the rim. Okay, so the last piece is going to go right here, right above the motor. Now when you put this on your aquarium, all the contact points with the glass are going to be insulated with that foam, which will dampen out the vibrations, and it dramatically reduces the sound. Very easy, very inexpensive modification, and it actually does wonders. Okay, so last thing we're going to look at is the media. First thing that you want to understand on how this pump works is, unlike some of the other hang-on back filters, the water doesn't go from bottom to top or top to bottom on this filter. It goes over this area, fills the back, and goes from back to front. All right, it's important on this to have the ability to get water down to the back and to have a gap in the front so that all of the height of this is usable. If you have media pressed all the way to the front and pinching this off without any gap, then it's just going to spill over the top without going through the bottom first. So that's what you want. Some clearance in the back, some clearance in the front, so that the water can pass through all of it. Okay? So you can see what they've got from the factory. You've got a cartridge here and a piece of foam here, and nothing more. This cartridge here has some carbon inside it, and then you have some mechanical filtration with this pad, and then you've got some mechanical and biological here in the form of this foam. It's really, I'm not going to say it's inadequate, but this chamber provides enough volume to do a lot better job than what they've done. First thing I'm going to say is this is a good piece to use so that you have something rigid to stay against these ribs to maintain this gap here that is important to make sure that all of the media is being used. But I would say make sure that you put it with this side first so you're not getting the carbon released into the tank. So I put it in this way, and I also put it in front of the groove. You've got a spot between the ribs that it would normally be in. I put it in front of there because the ribs still make sure that you have a gap. Okay, so you're still good, and it increases the volume back here. The next thing I do is replace their sponge with this material, which is some carbon impregnated filter pad, and put it in place instead so that you get an increase in the amount of chemical filtration because of the carbon, and then a smaller piece 90 degrees out like so. And what you've done with these two pieces is now you've created a taller cavity here that can be filled with other media for biological filtration. Okay, so water can still pass through this and drop into the full cavity and go through all of the filter pads. See that? Okay, now that you've got that, the next media that I like to use is pumice. And this pumice is nice because the type of porosity that you have in this pumice, if the flow is low enough, will accommodate anaerobic bacteria, not just aerobic bacteria. And I like to use this in the lowest spot because you're going to have the lowest flow in this area here, and that provides for the most opportunity for anaerobic bacteria to thrive, which enables you to have some reduction in nitrates. And then the next media going in, I use ceramic rings for more aerobic filtration, or aerobic bacteria for biological filtration. And there you go. So you've got dramatic increase in biological filtration beyond what you could ever have done in this body. And you've got exceptional sound reduction using a simple, inexpensive mod. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are some great improvements to an already great product. So have fun out there on nano tankers.